start the recording, right? And there I gave you Meena, yes. So you are the host now.
Thank you, sir. Shall we start?
Yeah. Sure.
Yes.
All right. So welcome everyone to the virtual informal youth talk show of ICOM Family Forum. Today we have Ileana from Croatia. Sorry, I could not pronounce your last name. Maybe you can introduce us by yourself and then pronounce your last name too.
Okay.
Well, all right. So introducing Ileana, she belongs to Croatia and she has lots of educational background. She had her PhD in Information and Communication Science, and she has Masters of History of Art and also Masters of Ethnology and Cultural Anthropology. She also has Masters of Museology and Heritage Management, as well as Masters of Library Science. So she is a very, very well-educated person. And not just that, she has actually worked in a very, very different environments too. So some of the places that she have worked is Typological Museum, where she actually designed and curated multi-sensory exhibitions, referring to islands of Raba and Logvi. So besides that, she is also a member of ICOM Croatia, and she has also worked for the Museum of Contemporary Art in Zagreb. I'm pretty sure it also belongs to Croatia, and Institute of Art History, as well as curatorial collection of WHW. So these are some of her working and educational background. Besides that, she has also published multiple books. So some of her books are practical application of the gamification theory in the museum environment, perspectives on curating Asian art in different European museums, and also a few related with social media, that is Facebook in the museum communication and Facebook as a museum content sounding board. So besides that, another book that she has written refers to reading habits of students in the service of the development of social and cultural activism and tolerance. So not only this, besides this, she has multiple other characteristics too. She can speak multiple languages, and we will be asking Ileana to introduce herself and let us know how many languages she can actually speak. Welcome, Ileana.
Hello. Okay, so my name is Ileana Kurtovic, and I come from Croatia. My actually hometown is Split, and I live in Zagreb. So I came to study in Zagreb, and this is where I finished all of these masters. I was actually studying parallel, in the same time, 2 degrees. Mm-hmm. So I actually wanted to be like. I wanted to be a good scientific person in the field of museum studies, and that's why I decided to study art, ethnology, and museum studies in the same time, because I believe that with this different kind of knowledge, I could work in any museum and I could do many different stuff. So maybe to say a little about this background education. So I also, when I started to study, I also started to work in the museum. I always knew since I was a child that I want to work in a museum when I was 5 years old. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
So yeah, maybe I can say this anecdote. So when I was young, my grandfather, he was playing a museum game with me. I was living in one big apartment, and there were actually pictures on the wall because my mother, she was a kind of artist. Mm-hmm. And we were playing the game actually of the museum. So I could watch the pictures and interpret them, and that was part of the game. So I believe that was one of the things why I today become involved in the museums. But what is interesting thing, the last 1 month, I actually don't work in the museum. I work as a professor of informatics in the elementary school. So I teach children about computers, programming, how computers work. But also in the museums, I was dealing with technology and some other stuff. So maybe I don't know how to start. Shall I start about the exhibitions, or maybe that would be the most interesting?
I think first you need to tell us how many languages you speak.
Okay, so actually, I speak Croatian, English. I was trying to learn Japanese, but I didn't repeat that for some time. Italian, because in Croatian schools we actually learn Italian. So io sono Ileana. Ich bin Ileana on Deutsch. I was living in Germany for half of year, so I was there learning also German. So these are some languages. Also, we learn in Croatian schools Latin, but I forgot the Latin actually.
That is fine. There are a lot of languages that we actually forget, I think. We have to study for a while and then, we just lose it. So here in Nepal, there are certain, languages besides English, So few of schools actually brings these volunteer teachers who teaches us like Chinese language, Japanese language. But after that, except for greetings, we don't remember anything at all. So that happens. Right. Could you actually tell us about Croatia, the country, culture, and the place you live?
Okay. So Croatia has 4.3 million people. And it's actually eastern part of Europe, but it's kind of connected to Western. It's in between Western and Eastern, but we say we are Balkan countries. So in Croatia, we had, this war 30 years ago. So everybody, when they remember Balkan, they remember actually the war. So a lot of Croatian art from 90s is connected with this interpretation of the war and suffering. So I live in Split. I was living in Split actually, and I was born there. And I think that also impacted my relation to the museums, because Split was part of the Roman Emperor, Diocletian. He built their palace, Diocletian Palace he built there Diocletian Palace. And it has many monuments. So when I was a child, we were like walking, and then my parents would say like, it's Cardo, it's Decumanus, these basic streets of the Diocletian Palace. And there were different doors, like gold doors, silver door. Of course, they are not gold, but it was actually you were living inside the palace. And there was history all around you. So it was kind of implemented in everyday life for people who live in Split. Because it's 2,000-year-old history, less than 2,000, but okay. And then I came to live in Zagreb, and I was thinking how I miss actually this Roman part of history. Because it's other part of Croatia. Split is near the sea, Zagreb is inside. And Zagreb has kind of something outside, like Andautonia and some other archaeological places. But for me to live in the palace, to live as a part of palace in Split was really interesting experience. So
feels like royalty, I guess.
No, not so, because this palace, people started to build houses inside the palace, so it's a little chaotic. But you know that there is a palace actually, so it's interesting. Okay.
Right. It must be really interesting because of the whole cultural value, and not just that, even the historical stories and everything, right?
Yes. And also what was interesting, when I was a child, children were playing in the digging the hole, and sometimes they would find the Roman money, like they were digging, that was interesting. I didn't find the one, but I know that some kids did actually. So
wow, that's really, really interesting. I would love to live there and dig a hole and try to find some artifact for myself.
But you need to give it actually to the government, so
okay.
You cannot keep it for yourself.
Can I take a picture with that?
You could, but
Okay, maybe that will be fine if I could find something and take a picture
and
with
give
it
it to
and
the
post it.
museum and give
Yeah,
it to
of
the museum.
course. Yeah, it's a part of history. So of course, of course. So since you have lived in Germany as well as Croatia, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with the museums, apart from Croatia. So what kind of difference have you found, in apart from Croatia?
Okay, so actually my hobby was to research the museums I would like in the world, but it takes a lot of money. So I was little researching museums in Europe. And I found many differences in some countries. For example, Germany, I would say it's mostly similar to Croatia. They have more money, perhaps, because I can see more interactive contents. So in Croatia, there is also the issue about the money and the exhibitions you make. Actually, you have a limit because you are limited with the money. So it affects the way how you design it, which materials you use, how much interactive contents you can have actually. But in Germany, of course, in some more popular museums, you can see the difference between the stuff they can buy. I would like to buy stuff they have there, but I cannot actually. Because of the lower budget. So, but what I noticed, the interpretation is actually similar. Doesn't matter this museum additions which you have for exhibition, but the type how you interpret is actually, I would say, like the Western. You have the main culture. You present how this culture is mostly actually in royal families, or how this culture is through national stuff and not actually through the little human, little person, who lives in this country. And maybe this part of royal or people who have money, maybe it's more like less percentage of the country. And usually when we interpret those parts, when we interpret past, we always interpret it, in Western, from my opinion, to the actually just 5 or 10% of the people. For me, that's an issue. But what I noticed when I came actually through the Stockholm and some other Norwegian countries, Scandinavia, I noticed that actually they are more oriented to the interpretation of the present time. They interpret the time 5, 10 years ago. And in Croatia, we start to connect stuff 30 years ago, 20 years ago. Okay. Now this is valuable. We need to, take it.
I understand. Right.
Okay, but this is different, if I combine the art museums and ethnology museums. So some art museums, they try to take the art from the new artists and this stuff, but some other museums, like town museums or something, as I noticed, they actually connect something which has already passed. And in Sweden, it's different. They have a kind of budget which is actually dedicated to collect new stuff. So you could actually see the iPhone 13 in the Technical Museum there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe 12. I cannot speak about it. I haven't been there a few years. I was there a few years ago, and they actually have new technology, really new one. And what I noticed when I was actually in Japan, I was doing some research about perspectives on curating Asian art in different European countries. For me, this seemed like an interesting, actually, research. I was researching how European museums interpret Japanese art, because since I study ethnology, I wanted to know it. Do they interpret it as part of art history? Because I study actually Western art history. I wouldn't say I study art history, but okay. And since I studied ethnology, I noticed that in some museums, they perceive as Japanese art as actually ethnology. So, like, oh, this is part of Japanese culture. And in Western art, we have like antique, Renaissance, part of this area and this stuff. We have more like this art historical analysis. So when I was in Japan, actually, I noticed that they are more oriented how to say, like, to experience of the museum. I was in Kyoto for this ICOM, and there was this manga museum, and I was shocked when I saw that there are like the books. I actually came like in a library, and I was it's not a library, it's a museum. They have the whole collection of the comic books. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking I will find like a picture. You see, this is a comic, some character from this, and there is a prize award or something. I expected something like this. So for me, that was really interesting. So this is what I would say about differences between the museums.
Right. So you seem to have done a lot of researches in your country as well as other countries' museums. All right. So then tell us about your, curational experiences, like for various exhibitions and all, how, how you felt and, the mind behind it.
Okay. So I was actually doing few exhibitions. It was really interesting for me to start to work in Typological Museum. Typological Museum is one of the rare museums, actually, which is dealing with a blind person and people who have impaired sight. So I was always wondering, since I studied art history, why do we always interpret art through actually just eyes? I wanted actually to learn how to interpret art through some other stuff, through smell, through how people can experience something beyond actually the sight. For me, that was like, what else do I need to learn from Curator is not to interpret history, but to learn some other types how to present it. So actually, I was learning how to do multisensory exhibitions. I came there, to do my practice, and it was interesting. I actually prepared, just a second, I actually prepared some pictures from this multisensory exhibitions. Share screen. You need to enable me to share the screen.
Sure.
Okay. So these exhibitions were actually interpreting not art, but they were actually interpreting the nature for the people who cannot experience this. For example, okay, share, okay, just a second.
Welcome to VoiceOver. VoiceOver speaks descriptions of items on.
Okay. So can you see the picture?
Yes.
Okay, so this is from the first exhibition about the island of Rava. So we actually wanted, there is a little island with a small island. It's 2 kilometers long, a small island in Croatia, and Croatia has around 1,000 islands actually. Wow. And so we wanted to bring in the Typological Museum the nature of that island. So there is, it has a specific inhabitants which actually live from the land. And you can here see on one picture, there is leaves from the, I'm not sure which herb, could be olive tree. And the second picture shows the land, because there is a specific land on this island. So we actually bring it in a museum for people that they can actually experience it. Also, there is the salt and this fish, they have the smell. So the people who cannot see, for me, it was interesting, actually, not just for people who cannot see, but the people who see and see this exhibition, they can experience exhibition through other senses, actually. So this is a picture from the second exhibition. It's called the Lokve. It's one small place. It's not on the island, this is on the land. And they had actually the artist colony. So on this exhibition, we combine the art, how it's made, and also there is an interpretation of the artist behind. So this exhibition, you can see that actually when we use these pedestals, we also interpret it as part of this picture. They were also colored as part of this background. But these objects could be touched even through the artworks. They were actually artworks in the process. There are these trees. They are actually real in this place. Actually, there is this place makes this artist colony for years, and you can find like 200 artworks in the nature there. So we actually interpret those artworks, and you could actually touch them, and you could touch the material from which they were actually made. And also we had kind of animals which the people could touch, which belong to that nature, like because it's actually not possible to touch the bird. It's really, I don't know, you need to be really fast if you want to touch the bird, but in the museum you could actually experience it. We had these little corners where you could touch the wood, where you could touch actually and smell the parts of the nature, also with these animals. And there was a blind girl. She was actually really like astonished with these animals, but now I don't have a picture of them. They were, this is the reconstruction of a cave. So you could actually enter the cave, and inside there were this part of cave ornaments. There was the sound of the water. So we actually used a lot of stuff to interpret for the blind and also for the visual people. So this is the exhibitions I was doing. I could tell a little more about this project. This was in the Typological Museum. It was a UNESCO for All project. That was a project which lasted for 3 years. It was interpreting 4 UNESCO cathedrals in different European countries. And in Croatia, there was St. James Cathedral. So we were making a pilot project, how to interpret UNESCO heritage for blind people and people with impairments. This idea came because it's not just that people, there are a lot of blind people who don't have access to heritage, but also there are people, Europe is becoming the old nation. So we need to prepare in the museums, we need to prepare opportunity for older people who to experience actually the heritage. So this was the project about this ring, which has a sensor inside, and the cathedral has, this is the relief of cathedral, and it has little sensors inside. So when you pass the one sensor, it starts to talk to you about this part of cathedral, because if you are blind, you cannot actually experience the upper side of cathedral. You can experience the walls, you can touch, but you cannot experience the ceiling, the windows, the pictures. So this is the way how you can actually experience with this ring. So I was also involved in this project, and this actually ended a few months ago. So it was really interesting to work on this new technology. Yeah. So this is the part actually of technology which is related to my hobbies. I love technology, so I was So today I study actually another university. I study bachelor degree in computer science, because I want to bring actually these new technologies to the museum around the world. This is my, let's say, like small goal. Yeah.
Actually, we do wish that we could have some sort of technology like this in our country, because it seems very interesting. See, like your first exhibition that talked about the nature and all, it's kind of like generally whenever we go to a museum, it's just first sight, right? Yes. We just see, and then sometimes we read, the labels or the stories behind it, and sometimes we do hire, like the docent who can tell us, a few more things about the objects and all. But then, your exhibition was completely different, because it's for your ears, it's also for your, for smell, and maybe for taste will be fine, nicer. But yeah, it's very interesting because you could touch. You can also listen, and not just that, you can smell and be a part of the whole exhibition, which is very, very interesting.
Yes.
Okay, so let us get out from the whole museum and exhibitions, and let us talk about your hobbies. What other hobbies do you have besides the museum, exhibitions, and curation?
Okay, so as you can see, I have many hobbies. So for my first hobby is technology. So, but technology somehow became connected with museums. I like new technological stuff, you know. I always wanted to learn stuff about the artificial intelligence. I always wanted to learn how to, you know, like how to make my own website. So I started to do little web pages. Then I started like, you know, to program and everything. So it led me actually to the new actually study. But I know that maybe some people don't perceive the study as a hobby, but for me, you know, to work in the museum is hobby. For me to study technology is hobby. I also like to cook. But it's also part of experiencing different culture, you know. For example, tomorrow I will go to Korean cooking workshop. So, but I also think, like, you know, to experience this culture in Corona time where it's really hard to travel and everything, you know, like you can do it actually in your country, you know, to go to some places, to, you know, to smell some stuff, to do it by yourself, this stuff. So this is kind of my hobbies. I also like to do art, you know, sometimes I paint, draw and everything, but I wouldn't represent myself as an artist or something. But yeah, I like to read books, and you know, because I believe if you learn something in some other area, it feels your, you know, initial thing, you know, like if I learn something for libraries, it makes museums' job more enriched. So yeah.
So basically your hobbies actually are to support you as a museologist or as a museum expert.
That's actually correct.
Very interesting. So then tell us about the types of food that you like. Seems like you are so much into, like, you told us about you were into Indian restaurants, even like the Korean, and I'm pretty sure you did like Japanese cuisines too, because you have been there. So tell us, like, what kind of other food that you like?
So actually yesterday I was eating Thailand food. I was actually eating pad thai. You know, when I was living in Germany, I had a roommate from Thailand, and I was actually like, oh, please learn me how to cook Thai food, learn me how to cook Spanish food, because she also was living in Spain. So I actually love to experience the culture to the food also, because, you know, so I like Thai, I like sushi, of course. Sushi is, you know, like one of my favorite food, actually. Sorry for other countries, but so yeah, so I like this, I like to experience culture in everything I can. So
yeah. Food is actually a very, very good source of learning about other countries' culture. You know, that's how we were taught. So every time we try to learn about any country, go to a restaurant, you know, like maybe go to a Chinese restaurant if we want to learn about Chinese, Japanese restaurant if we want to learn about Japanese and taste their food. And also, like, you know, there are this certain sort of like rituals that they do whenever they're serving, right? So it allows us to feel very, very close with that culture. So yeah,
it's like a museum to go, actually. Yes. And in Croatia, there is also one museum had like a project, not mine, but some other. They had a project about cooking. So they were actually preparing some old meals for people to try in that town. So it was really interesting. It was kind of ethnology museum or something. So yeah.
So just like I said, maybe that will actually, you know, hopefully bring us to the part where we can also test the museum experience. All right. So then, you know, well, there are, you know, like your hobbies as well as your professionalism almost, you know, complement each other. So, and also I do feel that, you have already been very, very highly influenced by your culture, by your parents. So tell us, like, who actually, inspired you to be in the museum area, and not just that, also bringing the technology in the museums.
Okay, so I had some friends which were studying geography or something, and they were telling like, oh, I don't get why you do museums. They are boring. This was literally what they were saying. And I was thinking like, how I could make a museum for my friend which says that museum is boring. So wow. I started with this actually. That was on my studies, because I was actually working on one research in a history museum. I was doing research how art museums was perceived in the history museum. That was interesting because people were like coming to history museum and they were telling, oh, I will find like this and that. And they actually came to art exhibition, but they still wanted to find those objects which they couldn't found because they didn't think it's art exhibition. So that was really interesting research. And one of my friends, she came as a participant of her research. I was actually working as a student on this research. That was not my research. That was from my professor, actually. And she was saying, oh, this is boring, that's boring. And I was like thinking, oh, like, I want to make some other type of museum. And when I came to Germany to study PhD in information sciences, there was one subject from my professor, Thomas Mandel, and it was about gamification. How actually through the game you can learn in the museum. Since I really love to learn, I always wanted to learn on some funny ways, not classical ways. And then I was like starting little to implement this gamification, in my museum experience. But that was most like PhD in information sciences, so it was not so connected with museums. And then I like published my paper actually a few months ago. It was published about gamification in the museum environment. So it came like this, but also since my parents, they have artistic hobbies. So I was, my mother, she finished art academy, and I was actually whole life surrounded with art. And I was creating art, doing art. So I was always thinking like, for example, why does my apartment need to look the same, I could maybe do a little exhibitions in my microplace of apartment. So I like to switch stuff, put different pictures and everything. So these ideas, how to change the space where I live, how to make funny exhibitions, it made me actually to start this new stuff. So
right. I can actually relate that, even in Nepal, we used to feel like museum is sort of boring because everything is very, very static. A lot of people used to say it's a very boring hobby. That is how a lot of people used to interpret. But, seems like you actually made that itself into an inspiration. That is really interesting, very, like completely different than how general people, think stuff. This is like completely, changing the whole mindset of people. And I really, really appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much actually for sharing all of these, because I do feel that, most of our countries, museums are sort of primitive. That is how it sounds now after listening to your experiences and your curational experiences. Now it does feel something like that, but yeah, it will be interesting.
But I didn't manage like to do like completely gamified. I don't want to actually like that this process of gamification, it needs to return the human to this object, not that this gamification becomes the separate process, like it needs to become everything together. But since like I told you, like in Croatia, when you make exhibition, you have limited budget. It's really hard to do this stuff. So you need to like to have start do it by yourself, like if I want to make some game, If I want to have like QR codes and everything, I need to do it designed by myself. I cannot have designer. I do something like, some recipes, some old Croatian songs. I put it on paper, like, and tell them like, open this door, maybe there is something, and then children would come to open this and everything. So.
Okay, now I understand why you want to equip yourself with almost everything. Right.
Yeah, but what's interesting thing, like if you work in a small museum, Typological Museum is a small museum. It has 5 or 6 curators, 1 museum pedagogist. So when I was working there, like there is a lot of stuff you can do it by yourself. But if you work in a bigger museum where there are 50 curators, you just do curating of exhibition, designer does this, digital marketing, everything is separated. So if you work in a small museum, you do it everything by yourself, which is interesting actually.
Okay. So which part would you like, being a part of the, bigger museum or the smaller museum?
Small museum, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I actually do feel that. There are like too many places where we can work around and not just that explore a lot, because there is no, boundary, which doesn't allow you to go beyond that, right? You can actually explore a lot of places and all. Okay, so then tell us a little bit about your books, like how how actually you had this mindset of writing books.
Okay, so this is actually, it's papers, not books. So, when I was on my 3rd year of, in my bachelor studies, I actually written first research. I always wanted to know how stuff functions. So, and why something happens because of something. So I was researching, so I started to research through the library studies actually at my bachelor degree. And then I started to go to first museum conferences to I was always interested why people behave in a certain way, how to impact behavior people through something you put on exhibition. So I started actually first to research Facebook, how people interact with participatory museum stuff. For example, I was researching certain questions like museum, how they publish something and how people respond to it. And this is how I came to this participatory stuff and museum 2.0 and everything. So with this, then I started to research gamification, then presentation of art and everything. So I don't know, I always wanted, I also want to research. Yeah.
So naturally you into writing.
Yeah, I like actually to write, and this is the only way how you can publish some new theory. I'm a little shy with this public talks, so the writing was my way actually of communicating. So
right. That is very interesting. A lot of people, I have found like from this profession, they are a little bit shy with the public. Generally they don't share a lot of stuff, so yeah, reading something that they have written, or also through the exhibitions that they have curated, we can actually feel this closeness with museum personals. So that is very interesting. So tell us about your future plan. Like, what do you what are your plans for your future?
Okay, so I had always this crazy idea that you need to go deep in one field, which are for me museums, and then completely go out of it in some other field, and then return to this field. I was believing this, when I was bachelor and master degree, I was always thinking how I will actually study computer science and then return to the museums. But I was actually thinking it will never happen. I'm not too brave for this. But actually, I did this now. 4 months ago, I did this. I started this journey to go out to different field. And then I will see what I can do in the combination with the museum field. And So my future plan would be like, to do what I can for museums, like in one museum, in two museums, doesn't matter. Like it doesn't matter the number of museum where this museum located. I want to actually do this gamification stuff in practice. That would be really interesting for me. To make like one museum, just one, for my friend to say, oh, this is great museum. Like that would be kind of my goal. And I think I could do this with the gamification, because I was asking her, like, what do you like in the museum? What would you like to have changed? What could be something you could, why would you return to the museum, you know? I want to make this stuff. So this is my future plan. Maybe it's too ambitious or something, but I will try at least one museum, and I will be happy if I manage to change one museum.
Right.
So.
Oh, the deep dream projects always has to be very, challenging and yeah.
Yes.
So, all right. So then tell me, like, what kind of challenges that you have faced till now, that you would like to address so that you can achieve your, dream museum or your dream project.
Okay, so of course, money. If you have the money, you could build any museum. Right. Because you could buy everything for it. So, okay, so the first issue is that. And this is very typical for museums, probably in all Balkan countries, but yeah. I could just assume that. So, so then the second thing is, of course, like to find a topic, like in which people are interested. If you are building museum from the scratch, actually, if you are building a certain topic, then you just like need to think what is important and like to put it somehow and put some additional stuff. But if you have like, if you build something from the scratch, you could actually build the history, or you could change the history. Like, this is really interesting thing. Like, I believe as a curator, you actually write history as well, because the certain artworks that you put, like they make actually, why did I decide to choose? I also did the art exhibition. Why I decided to choose this work instead of this and that, and why this artist instead of that one and that one, like it's basically writing the art history. And I believe you need to be very careful with this stuff. So my challenge is, of course, not just like which artwork to choose, which art, which topic, what is the thing which you actually want to present, like, and how to present it. Because you also need, I was talking with some artists and they were always telling me, curators, like, you always do something on our exhibition which I don't like. And when they say it like this, and I never thought about this. So I found this when I was doing art workshop. I was a student of art. And my professor, she was the artist actually, and she was telling me like how these curators, they always do something to her pictures or something. And then I was like thinking, okay, when I was designing the exhibition of another artist, I was thinking, okay, now I will be very careful. How do you want to see your artworks presented? Like which kind of this part of putting pictures, which color of font, which font you want to have in your catalog. Is it okay, my perception of your artwork? What is your perception of your artwork? I wanted to be open toward her to find out like why she really drawing what she's drawing. So I think this is some challenges of curators in general. So yeah, I don't know, did I answer properly?
Yeah, actually, I do feel the same. Like because these are also the challenges that we face here in our country too. First, just like you said, with the budget, of course, budget is always very small, and not just that. Finding sponsor is like very, very, very tough work to do. And besides that, just like you said, while curating exhibitions for an object or art or like anything, justifying that specific object with relation with the artist, the history, as well as the public, and having the ethics of the the museum, as well as being a responsible person. Very, very challenging stuff. And yeah, I do think that we can learn the whole thing through the process itself, because yeah, there are times when even I have also offended people while exhibiting.
Really?
Like, I mean, yeah, I mean, sometimes what happens is that the history behind it, the perspective or the statement of the artist, as well as how the people might perceive that specific thing, is completely different. So you have to find a very neutral point, and when we do that, of course, we offend people a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you understand my issues, so.
Yeah, because that is something that I also have struggled with, and would love to learn more so that I can be as neutral as possible, and not just that, be more responsible for the work that we do. Anyway, so most of the questions that I have are almost finished, and generally what we do is that we allow our participants to interact with you, make a bond. So I would like to introduce a few of our participants right now, and then I would like to open the panel for everybody to interact with you. Okay. So we have Aditya. Aditya is from India, and he is an archaeologist. And we have Buma ma'am. So I think you know about her. She is from Mongolia, also related with the museum. And we have, of course, Javed sir, who actually made the whole process for the youths and all, and also related with the museums. We have Noran. She is an artist as well as archaeologist, also related with museum. Like, she have too many identities, so you can talk about that. We have Dhansar. He's from Nepal, and he also belongs to one of the museums here in our country. And we have Osma. She is an artist from India. So, and last but not the least, we have Shivani. She is also related with religion. She has studied visuology, as her core subject. So yeah, I would like to open the panel for everybody. So please take turns and then interact with Ileana, and please, everybody, make yourself, easy. All right?
Okay.
Maybe
Well,
Shivani,
hi,
you can.
Ileana.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Yeah. All right, you can go, Aditya, because nobody was talking. So.
एक्चुअली प्रॉब्लम है ना स्पीकर में, तो उसी वजह से
No worries.
कनेक्ट होना पड़ेगा.
Well, she's asking, like, to Ileana, that the technology that you use in your museums, so how the visually impaired people, does your technology use the Braille system?
Braille system.
Okay. So we have in the museum where I was working, there was actually all the museum text, most of them on the braille, and it's positioned like on 45 degrees, I think, like because for blind people to read, they need to have a different angle. It cannot be actually the flat. It needs to be, so actually you could do it. I noticed in some other museums, they were actually using, I don't know if this is the English word, like styrofoam, this white thing. They were cutting it and then using like this to make it. But actually it's not so expensive even to do it by yourself. You just buy this little thing, where blind people write, and you put these little holes, and you could actually have the basic legends actually for, like, you don't need to actually spend a lot of money to make something for the blind people. Actually, people always think that you need to have something special and everything. But also, like, I was thinking for the last exhibition, we were using NFC sensors, like this is little dots.
Yeah.
And you could write something like on braille, but you know what's actually interesting? Like, not all the blind people know how to read a braille letter. Maybe just 50% of them. That's half of them actually, because people do not become blind with born. They also become blind with the age, like from you know, sugar disease or something, you know, nerve issue, or like, so there are many actually blind people who don't know how to read braille. So to install the braille, it means just like 50% of them will know how to read it. So I don't know, did I answer? But
it's very useful to braille scripts and paintings are very useful, and you make a incredible, you present the incredible things in your museums and your प्रदर्शनी को क्या बोलेंगे? Exhibition.
okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you
For listening.
Thank you.
So, Ozma, would you like to say something?
Yeah, I want to say, Ileana, you are developing an amazing exhibition and for blind people. And usually these are practices missing in the museums, mostly museums, and not working for the disabled persons. So it's very amazing you work for those people who are blind and disabled. So that's it. So
Thank you so much.
yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Noran, would you like to say something to Ileana? Okay. Maybe she's busy with something. Right, Buma ma'am.
Lunch.
Yeah, maybe lunch. Hello, Buma ma'am, are you there?
Yes.
Right.
For me it was very interesting one exhibition where this objects was in the one exhibition hall from the nature. Yes. This,
Yes.
On the pedestal, some fruits or wooden things. This is is it the temporary exhibition was?
No, it was the permanent exhibit. No, yeah, it was temporary. Sorry, like we don't have this exhibition anymore, but there are some stuff which are permanent, but it's not about the nature. So we were thinking like blind people cannot come to this little place, like there is a lot of stones and everything. It's not so suitable like to walk there, like this part of Croatia. So, you know, like how, for example, caves. Okay, the blind person can enter the cave, but like, for example, to make the cave environment in the museum for blind persons, some of them probably never been to cave. So to construct the cave, like with this stuff you can touch and the sound you can hear from this cave is actually really interesting for, you know, for experience. Of course, you cannot like reconstruct everything, you know, like to reconstruct the temperature and everything. It's too complicated, but some stuff of the nature we did. And also it's interesting for learning these different shapes of the wood, because different wood has different shapes. So it was also interesting for people who see to the touch and to know, aha, this is this wood and this is the other tree. So yeah.
Yes, this is very good exhibition, I think. Small regional museums can be organize such exhibitions in their museum, I think.
Yeah, the small museums are the best. I'm joking, but okay.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Tan sir, would you like to say something to Ileana? Hello. Tan sir?
Just a minute, please.
Sure, sir.
Hello.
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 Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Just a minute. Screen, just a minute, please.
Hello.
Oh, Noran, you are
Hi.
here.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Elena,
Everyone.
Thank you.
for
Hi.
nice presentation. How is
All right.
it okay to speak?
Yes, sir. Yes,
It's
please.
working.
No. Okay, Elena presented very amazing experience. She has been researched and studied in many different countries, and she has a wonderful experience in museum field. Actually, she is doing continuously on that field. So she's one of the expert, I think so. Very few people would be like that who do some long time for a museum. So she has done very well. So very nice to hear like that. She has been in Kyoto also, where I have been there. I have seen only museums, not like that in depth. So anyway, I want to know only which museum do you like wherever you visited, which museum you thought the best one?
Okay, so that's really hard question for me. I would say one exhibition actually, which actually inspired me the most. I was in Frankfurt. I even don't remember the name of the museum, but I remember the exhibition. Exhibition was about the presentation of women and men through the history. Like the woman through the Christian stuff through the art. Then the woman as a saint, woman as a sinner, woman as a housewife, like the old representations of the women through actually the past, as well as the men. So this was really complex exhibition. Because it involved the artwork from different times, as well this criterion, like the saint. What does it mean, the saint, in the art and in the society? So really interesting critical exhibition, I would say. Like I don't remember the name of the museum, but one of the best exhibitions I saw in my life. So yeah.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
sharing.
Thank you for your what we say. You have presented a very nice experience for us. So you also shared to us. That's very good. Hope we'll see you again in the same condition.
Yes.
As you have experienced more than that. Then after.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Noran, would you like to say something? Sorry, you got interrupted. Noran? We will wait for her later. So Aditya, would you like to say something?
Yes,
You are the
I just
last
want to
person
say,
today.
like, it was a very beautiful presentation. And again, hello, beautiful. Okay, this is for Ileana. And can you just tell me about the evolution of Balkan history, starting from the
A relation of Balkan history, like in general, or like?
Yeah, just in general, like a overview.
So
the rise of
Okay, like the roots of Croatia, you mean? Like okay.
Exactly.
So there are different stories about the roots of Croatia, but there were like some people living in this area, and there is the story about I forgot the names of these people, like they were living in a field and everything. So this is how it starts the story, like from 8th century or something. But of course that in Croatia, you also have like the caves in which people were living like in prehistory. Like, for example, one of the oldest caves where people were living, one of the oldest for sure in Croatia, but it's also like for Europe, like not the oldest one, but one of them. It's called Vela Spila. It's at the island of Korčula. Like, so they found this, you know, the parts of the human bones and the skull from this older period. I forgot which part of Paleolithic or something. So I didn't study archaeology. We started to learn history from the Roman emperor. So and then part of the Croatia was actually later was under the Roman influence. And then later was the Turkish influence. Like, so for example, some people have still surnames which are actually from Turkish words. For example, my surname, Kurtovic, in Croatian would be like Vukovic, which means the wolf. Vuk is a wolf. But Kurt is a wolf on Turkish, actually. So when the Turkish arrived here in Croatia, like people were starting to take the actually like they Turkishized the Croatian surnames. So we have like the Roman history, like prehistory. We had like also this Turkish part of history. So yeah, that's it in short.
Yes, okay, no problem. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So now I would like to ask Mohammed sir to say something to Ileana. If you have any questions, please do ask.
Yeah. Liana, but definitely we are thankful to her. She appeared in this program and she has encouraged a lot of other people to come, and usually they feel shy to come in such programs. And so there several reasons could be, but you know, we want to encourage them, and the only source we have to encourage them, that we invite people and they come, they are willing to come, they come in, and they get very acquainted with this program, that okay, it's informal really, so let's go over there. So we are thankful to her. She has spared so much time from out of her busy schedule and research work. So she is definitely PhD, and PhD people are seldom available, to see. So whenever you talk, they have some project in their mind, and they have to say embarking on that, and they just refuse, like an artist. You see, when we start painting, we never listen anybody. Okay, so if even artist wife keep on crying that, look, I need so and so things for cooking and all these things, but the artist will not come out of studio. You see, so this is our nature. In fact, this is a nature that a person who started a work, he don't want to live until such stage where he thinks that it can be done tomorrow. No. So this is what Alina, she spared time, and we are very thankful to you. And she has given a very comprehensive point of view about her profession, and this profession is very new to some museums, mostly museums. You see, so very few museums they use the facilities of such experts. You see, so one thing is definitely it's difficult that you don't have a job in every museum. You see, you will have a job on one or two interested museums. Those want to work in this area of blinds, exhibitions for blinds and impaired persons. So Alina, definitely she has done a lot of degrees and different fields, and this is the sign of a hungry person, you see, hungry person. So she has a hunger of education, you see. She wants to know more and more, and start it into its profession. And that's where the creativity comes in. You see, you cannot create a new things. You cannot create or curate an exhibition when you don't have a knowledge, or you don't have a habit of digging the things out of reference studies available in there. So she is definite. I really fall in love with her planning. So she has nicely done these degrees immediately. She is so young, so she has a span of life to create most interesting exhibitions and create most interesting exhibition for such a person. And this I really feel that people will be directly go to heaven who work for a God people, you see. So she is working for blind and impaired persons. So she is working for a God people really. So she will straight away go to heaven, you see. So this is a good things which I can talk about her, but I definitely I now become familiar with her mother. She is an artist. She is an artist. So we definitely would love to see her work and how she is doing in art. And one day, maybe through Elena, we invite her on this forum, and we talk to her and listen how naughty was Elena in childhood.
That would be.
It is so nice of her, and I'm very thankful to you. If anything we can do for your profession or your things. You see, all everywhere there is a poverty and there is a wealth. You see, so both the things go together. So if we convince a sponsor that look, this is send you directly to the heaven. So you invest in this area. So he will be ready to do that because he wants a ticket for heaven. To see. So you will give him a ticket here or him a ticket for that. So he will be agree to spend money on your projects and your museums and all these things. But if your museums and your exhibitions are in a poor condition, so he will not. Definitely, he will not. So you have to show something and new things. So wealth is there, but how you will get it for museums and your projects, this depends on your expertise to convince him. So convince the wealth rather. Okay. So there is a poverty too. Our governments are not much say what we can say is not much have a money or budget for these kind of activities. So they when you go to ask them a budget for a museum, they says what a white elephant we are having here. So so they don't, their priority is not that. Their priority is health. Their priority is education. Their priority is what you say, it's food. So food for people. So they have the priorities. Other than the third, last priority they have, they have to see money in their pocket too. So this is why they invest on such projects which are giving them also some return. So their museums, what museum will they? So and naturally, if museum don't have money, they will be in a very poor condition. over there. So even I have seen such museums where a budget for a cleaner salary, exhibits cleaner salary is not available. So there is no cleaner. So curator is himself or herself cleaning these things. So how far he will clean the things, right? So definitely those exhibitions get older and dusty and all these things. So you see people, as you were telling us that your friends laugh. So when they go to such museum and they see the things dusty and old and not much interesting, so they laugh on that museum. So otherwise, you have learned a technology, you have learned many interface to the museum. So about interface to the museum, you have learned a software development. So you can do a lot of things, you see. With your small computer, you can do a lot of things, and all they have to do, it's a tablet, a small size of tablet. You see, now these tablets are so available that even you travel in a bus, there is a tablet mounted over there, and you can see all programs on that tablets, and you can connect with the internet to the any place and all these things. So that tablet costs a nominal. You see, the nominal amount. So if you develop such programs and most probably many sponsors can make you available these kind of equipment, and you can do a lot of things. And you see this Zoom, we are buying here. I have to pay $15 a month, $15 a month, right? Nothing. You see, so easy. But from those $15 of months, we are coming close to each other. We are coming close to each other. Meena is from Nepal. You are from Croatia. Aditya is from India. Uzma is from Pakistan. Uzma is from Pakistan, by the way. You correct yourself.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Sorry.
yeah. So as Bhuma is from Mongolia, right? So Dr. Dhan is also from Nepal. So many friends. The rain came in between. So she is from Egypt. So we cannot imagine. You see, this is because of this technology, right? They developed this and they are giving us a very economical say cost. So you definitely can do a lot of things because you are so young and your brain is working very fast. I think I have seen you talking and telling, and I believe that your brain is very fast in thinking and calculating and disseminating. So we all have learned a lot of things from you. I'm so glad that you are our part of our team. So I would love to be permanently with us, but nobody is permanent in this world. But I definitely, it is my teacher, John Bellin. He is in the UK, is a Britisher. So John Bellin, he just called me that's 4 days back, and he said, look, I just went to teach in my college in Glasgow. He says he lives in Glasgow. I went to teach in college, but I was ashamed and I ran away. I left the job. I said, why? So he said, what I am teaching, it is quite old now. So the students know more things about the things which I am going to teach them. So it was not fair. So I left the job. So I said, why you need to teach? Because you taught me. I taught many students in art college, and they are also teaching their students. Now they are lecturer and professor in art colleges, they are also teaching that. So I have the knowledge from you 100%, say 100%, and my 100% is transferred in the shape of 50% maybe. So they are transferring 25% maybe. So it's all your knowledge and market today. So why you have to do the worry about this thing? So this is like that. So if we are not here, but what we are doing is that it will be here. So you will be remembered. So definitely we are recording this movie. This will be on YouTube. So nobody is going to delete it or so that will be available. If we are not here, but the people will remember that there was people here, they were used to do this kind of things, right? So this kind of things. So man, I'm teacher, so I do not leave the desk until moderator not say that please forget it. So so with these words, I'm very thankful again and again, and definitely we will be in touch, Alana. We will be in touch, and we will do many things, right, together, inshallah, right? So over to you.
Thank you very
Meena.
much, sir.
Okay.
Thank you very much. So Ileana, if you have anything you would like to share, after that we will be closing the program.
Okay, thank you very much for this opportunity to share my experience. It was really interesting for me also to hear some stuff from your countries. So I'm very grateful for this opportunity, and I hope in the future we will collaborate on some projects or something together. Yeah, that's all.
This has been actually a very, very beautiful experience, like where you have shared, your part of experience from Europe as well as the Asian country. For us, understanding, the type of new technology, as you know, that this, the current time is a technological, time, and the world has shrinked a lot because of the technology and all. But then yes, there are a lot of countries and small museums which are facing a lot of problems, and I feel that today's talk show has been more like an intellectual talk show, where you have shared your expertise, and it actually allows us to feel that, like maybe there are not constraints that we feel that is there. Like we can also have a lot of outlets too, like you shared about how we can transform our exhibitions, how it can be interpreted and all. So like this, if only we can actually have more interaction programs like these, where the people from various field, it will actually help us to understand our problem as well as find solutions regarding this. And yes, so for this I'm very, very, very thankful to Ileana Kurtovic. I think I pronounced it correctly this time.
Good.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And I would like to thank all our senior professionals, Javed sir, Dhan sir, as well as Buma ma'am, and other friends. That is, we have Osma, Noran. We couldn't have a lot of talk with her, but yeah, we do feel that you're with us. And then Aditya, Shivani, and thank you very much for finding time and then sharing your thoughts with us.
Our next program will be on 18th. So there's the artist from Cyprus. Yes, there is an artist from Cyprus. She will be our guest there. So please join us because when you people join this program, I said this is one of the reason that people will see many people are interested in this program, so they will come. So there will be a magnetic switch You see, if people are bored, then there will be a magnetic switch, so they will come to magnet. So 18th December, 18th December. So we will gather, and then we have a 20th December, and then we going to have Christmas holidays and Christmas holidays. After that, we will come on 28th, I think. Yes, 27th or 28th, maybe. So 27th, I have to cancel 27th because it is quite close to Christmas. So our friends, Christian friends, may not be able to come out. So maybe 28th we will keep again that a beautiful model. What is her name?
Eleonora.
Oh yeah, Eleanor.
Yeah.
Eleanor from Italy. So she will be there. Unfortunately, we missed her video recording. So she said you have
That's my bad.
all the video recording on YouTube and you don't have my. I said okay. There's one more program, second episode. So second episode we will be going on 28th. Right. Thank you very much indeed. Anything else? Anything else? Anything?
All right. If anybody has anything to say, please,
Please.
otherwise, yeah, we have almost come to the end.
Please, Aditya, everybody's.
Like, I have nothing. I just missed it.
Yeah, she was here, but then maybe she got busy, I guess.
I was waiting for her very eagerly.
Right. So yeah, seems like we don't have anything more. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you so
I
much.
think we should
Always
say
a pleasure.
goodbye.
Thank you,
Thank
Darren
you.
sir. Thank you, and
Thank you so
thank
much.
you, everyone. Thank you so much. Sir. Thank you.
Why you
Thank
are
you so
going
much.
so humble? This show is running because of you and Shivani. You are our regular participants. And Dr. Dan.
The only reason,
So
and I really don't want to miss
rather
any
you
of
thank
this
me, I
meeting.
should thank you. So yeah, it's also a social service, you see. When
That is it.
yeah, it's also a social service. So we must take interest in that. You know, every mission starts from few people.
Exactly, sir.
Yeah, it never starts from a bulk or say large number of people. So it starts from few people. So you, Shavani, Dr. Dhan, and Uzma, me, and Alena, and this Boma.
Yeah.
Boma, I tell you, Boma is the president of ICOM Mongolia. So beyond her so occupied activities, she comes without
Exactly,
any.
sir.
So she has a very great respect in my heart. So I only, if I have to love a person on this earth, so I will love Bhuma. So many people should be like Bhuma here, okay? So that things go in a great direction. Whenever I ask her that, look, I need one speaker, she said, okay, no problem. I am asking from such and such girl, she will come, and such and such boy. So she is always there to help, you see. So always there
Yes.
to assist. So such people are very few in the world. And believe me, Elena, people are very few like you too in this world. So you, congratulations to your mothers and your father. They have given a birth to such a great, kind child who is engineering the things in favor of say social work. You see. So thank you very much. Well, I will start again. Okay, bro.
That's okay.
Let's go.
And
Let's
sir, like you, Indeed,
Thank you.
as you
But
said, like
Yeah.
thanks to
but next,
Ileana's mom and dad for giving birth to such a beautiful girl also. Not only
Yeah, yeah,
she's beautiful
yeah,
in
yeah.
the mind,
That's
but her looks also.
yeah, that's right. That's right. Beauty must be appreciated. If you do
Yes,
not
sir.
appreciate beauty, then
yes, of course.
you are not an artist. You are not yes, because you are not a aesthetical person.
Very true.
Aesthetic is a tool that determines what is beautiful or what is not beautiful. Am I right, Elena?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
And sir, like I'm a
yeah,
sucker for beauty. I'm a biggest
yeah.
sucker for beauty.
Okay. 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 Bye bye then.
Okay,
Right.
so bye bye,
Bye, everyone.
bye bye,
Yeah.
Thank
Jaja.
you
Thank
so
you so
much.
much.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Ilana.
But
Bye
Thank
Can
you,
you
bye.
give
Elena.
me?
Thank you, Elena.
Can you
I also
give
Thank you,
like
me?
that
Ileana. Thank
don't
you.
mind.
Yeah.
Oh,
This
And Boa ma'am,
she
Boa
is
ma'am.
Diana.
Yeah.
yes.
Hello. Yeah.
Elena said that she one time working hard for museum, then she can move to another field.
Yeah.
And
my meeting.
Alena,
this is
do you?
also three mind. This is good. Okay. Not
Aluna,
this is good.
Alana, do you have any exhibition which can be shown on this forum?
You mean like to show live
Yeah,
exhibition
yeah,
or?
live.
Now it's closed. Now it's no exhibition currently.
Okay. So
But I was planning to speak in the February about multisensory exhibitions more in the depth. We agreed for this topic in February.
Yeah.
So my plan was to to put like practice and everything, like practice and research in one. So
keep contact with this moderator, Meena Lama from Nepal.
Right.
So she is the in charge of
Virtual tour.
yeah,
Virtual tour.
yeah, but tours and reports. You see, tours and reports. So she will contact you, and if you with her coordination, you can give us a tour of that exhibition and a little bit explain that exhibition with that. So maybe many museums will be interested to establish such activity, you see, for blind and impaired people. So it's, you see, many museums still, they don't have a ramp for a wheelchair person.
I know the issues.
Yeah, you see. So this is how we are moving in the world. So this is but terrible. So anyway, some countries are very good because Canada, they have a currency note, even blind can identify that it is a $12 or $20 or $5 note. So this Netherlands, they also have a currency like that. So even Sweden, I think Sweden also have a currency like that where blind can read how much they can go to deal in currency with anyone without any aid or any help. So this is in the world. So things slowly progress. You see, because in one day you cannot build a Rome. You see, in one day you cannot build a Rome on hand. Okay. So this we have to have a slowly. Maybe our coming generations they will be successful in doing that. Maybe. So otherwise, now the situation has come where the say rich countries, they have become misers. They are they are eating poor people, they are killing poor people and just getting the money in their pocket. So they are not investing. anymore. So this is, may God help us. So, but anyway, but I again started one. So give me,
That's okay.
yeah.
I agree with you.
I agree with you, sir. What you're saying is absolutely true, sir.
So give me host, Meena.
So Ileana, could you actually help me to, switch host to Javed sir?
Just a second. So I'm a host, or?
Yeah, in order to share your slides and all. So I should set my host.
You are definitely host today.
Too bad, we are still hungry.
Make host, okay. Change host, okay, your host now.
Oh, thank you.
Aditya was talking about your beauty. You see, you didn't say even single word that I am beautiful. Wow.
That's a heartbreaker. That's a heartbreaker.
You know, in India and Pakistan, if there is a mole on cheeks, so that is identified as a special beauty.
Yes,
I heard that.
Isn't it?
I heard that from what is the name of this guy from ICOM? He has some relation to Croatia. I forgot his name, but he always tells me on ICOM. Maybe on ICOM Mictop is he. I'm not sure anymore, but yeah. So he told me this.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, be happy and be in touch, right?
Yeah.
So, bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much.
Ciao, ciao, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.